Hello there, YouTube. It's your boy B3 back with another kicking comic book review. I don't review terribly many single issues unless I review several of them at once, which I'm going to do with Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers if I ever get around to that. Actually, I mean, you know what? Maybe I should try to make that my next one, especially since today I am reviewing the first issue of Godzilla Rivals. It is Godzilla Rivals versus Hedorah. This is a one-shot from IDW. Godzilla Rivals is one of the books that kind of brought their Godzilla series back from hiatus. And let me tell you, I really enjoyed it. At first, I was like, this isn't the best. But then it all worked out. It was also Hedorah's 50th anniversary when this was published. So that's why Hedorah gets the first issue. Anyway, we get this narration from this woman about this man that saved her when Godzilla and Hedorah were fighting in the city. And he's like calling these hospitals and he's like, hey, I have someone that needs medical attention. And all the hospitals and relief places are like, we're at max capacity. We can't do that. And he's like, you can do it for her. This is Dr. Kovacs. She's a kaiju expert. She has a way to stop him, but she can't do that if you don't save her life. But they also, like, when she wakes up and he's not keeping his eyes on the road because he's trying to tend to her, she calls him a ding-dong, he calls her a ding-dong, and I was like, who the hell calls someone ding-dong when they're about to get stepped on by a kaiju? No, you don't say, please watch the road, you ding-dong. You say, watch the fucking road, goddammit. That's what you piece of shit, you dumbass. That's the kind of thing you say. It just felt so weird and unnatural. That being said, I liked the art. It was fun. It almost looked kind of anime-ish. And also, Godzilla is a Showa design. It's a Showa look for Godzilla. IDW never uses a Showa look for Godzilla. But they did in this book. And that makes me incredibly happy. But throughout this book, it's really quite well paced. The stakes are so high, a city's being destroyed, and people like this one cop and etc. are giving their lives to get this woman to the hospital. And then they're there. The doctors save her. But then they come in and they're like, hey, we just realized this isn't Dr. Kovacs. Because Dr. Kovacs is elderly. She was a kaiju expert in the 40s. So, who is this? And it turns out it's the guy's sister. And once you realize she's his sister, you're like, oh, okay. That's why they called each other ding-dong. Because that's something that siblings that grew up together would call each other. That was foreshadowing. Got it. There's actually a decent amount of foreshadowing. Quite a lot. But it's good. Because you reread this issue and then you're like, oh. It was pretty good. But it turns out his sister was a lab assistant for Dr. Kovacs, and they did develop a device that can stop kaiju, but they weren't able to use it because the place where it was stored was immediately destroyed, and so was everyone that knew about it except for her. So, if she died, they wouldn't even have known that invention was there, and no one would have known how to use it even if they did. So it is a good thing that she was saved. But then, she kind of condemns the brother that was willing to sacrifice his life as well as the lives of other people, which is a dick move, admittedly, to use it. Because it is a short burst of radiation that drives the kaiju away. But if a human is close to it when it goes off, it's going to kill them. That burst of radiation is going to kill them. So she pushes her brother into the crater that it's in so that he can activate it. Because she wouldn't be able to do it in her current state. So she has to sacrifice her brother. He does decide to activate the machine and give his life. And his sister is gonna unalive herself. A word I have to use because YouTube monetization is fucked. Then again, I have cursed a lot in this video, so kill yourself is probably fine to say. Whatever. Anyway, he survives because Hedorah absorbs the radiation since they're so close. Since the kaiju were like right next to them almost, the kaiju were actually able to absorb the radiation. But they did save the city. And it was really good. It was actually an excellent one-shot, and I was very, very happy with it. I will say Godzilla's look isn't entirely consistent throughout, but Hedorah's kind of is, which is very odd, because you would expect Godzilla to look pretty consistent if they can keep Hedorah consistent, but since Hedorah's made of sludge, he doesn't even need to look that consistent, because he's almost a liquid. Very odd choice. But I will be reviewing the next several issues as one-shots, as single issues. Godzilla Rivals vs. Mothra, Godzilla Rivals vs. King Ghidorah, Godzilla Rivals 2 vs. Batra, and Godzilla Rivals vs. Gigan. I'm going to review the single issues because I was getting them as they came out. But now that they're doing the trades, I'm not going to review the round 1 trade because I will have reviewed it with all these single issues that I have. But I will just get the round 2 trade. So you'll kind of get a doubled up review of Godzilla Rivals vs. Gigan. But what I'll do is I'll go more in depth on the single issue, and then when I get to the trade that it's also in, I'll kind of just give a quick recap so that those who follow this series don't have to sit through that twice. Plus, they'll probably be spaced out a bit anyway. So we'll see. Who knows? Anyways, that is it for Godzilla Rivals vs. Hedorah, a really cool IDW one-shot. I've always loved most of the IDW Godzilla stuff that's been released, and I'm very happy that they came back. I do have the first volumes of the Monsters Protector stuff, and I'll be getting like one-shots and really just any Godzilla comic that comes out, you can bet I'll get it. That new Marvel Omnibus for Godzilla that comes out in 2024, I'm going to get that. My partner has the black and white one. I think, what is it, Masterworks is how it's called? He has that one, and I could review it, but I don't want to own that one, because I want it in its original color. I think it's weird. Like, if you have a comic that's originally published in black and white, and then later down the line you release it again in black and white, that's just historical preservation. But when you intentionally take away the color, that's just odd to me. It just seems like a really superficial way to make something look classical. Does that make sense? It's like when some student filmmaker puts a black and white filter over their movie and then fucking acts like they're goddamn Stanley Kubrick or something. I don't know. But that is it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. I'm also going to be reviewing Kamen Rider, the original manga, Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, among many, many other things that my Kaiju and Toku brothers, sisters, and others will like Radiant Black and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Go-Go Power Rangers, Aliens Omnibus, Kaiju Max, etc., Ultra Mega, blah, blah, blah. That's it. Thank you all once again. I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.